Now, Craig just mentioned Manchester City. Obviously, they've been resurgent of late. I think it's 10 without losing now in a row. So things are looking better for Pep Guardiola's men. This weekend, they are coming up against Aston Villa. And our Rob Dawson sat down with Josko Gvardiol to speak more about City right now.
People want to talk about Arsenal and Liverpool a bit, but quietly City are kind of, winning games and going on a run. Does it feel in the dressing room that maybe you're going under the radar a bit, that people are underestimating what this group is capable of a little bit?
I would say at the beginning of the season you could feel it. You could feel it. It was just about Liverpool and Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, after the run we have now, I think everyone is getting aware again that we are still here. That we're not just gonna give up because obviously season is long. So. Lots of games to play, and yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season. I think each season is even more and more interesting and harder.
So they're looking to make it unbeaten in 10. Are they going under the radar at the moment?
Not really. I mean, I think there's still questions about how the defence is going to hold up over a course of a full season, and of course, when you have somebody in the form of Erling Haaland, that helps. Now, I know there's been a conversation on this show about are they too reliant on Erling Haaland? Well, we'll find out. I mean, the chances are Erling Haaland, which will please Jan, is going to probably continue the way he is, because if you look at his numbers in previous years, he's got a lot of goals. So I don't think, barring injury, that's going to dry up. But can he score enough to offset the fact he might not be getting it from other places in the team? Well, that remains to be seen. But the big issue for me still is they play better teams. And I think the boys were talking about it last weekend, if buts and maybes, but Everton could have been 2-0 up before that game changed and went the other way. That's the big question. The big question is, when it gets to the crux and the crunch, have they done enough defensively to go over 38 games? I'm not yet quite convinced.
To your question, I do think City are flying a little bit under the radar. I think a lot of the conversation has been about Liverpool and their poor form compared to last season and struggles of the new signings, etc., etc. And Arsenal have looked the most complete team in the league by some stretch. Yet still we're talking about a City team who, well, it's Erling Haaland and 10 others at this point. But are just 3 points behind Arsenal in the table. Now, the question remains, kind of given their performances, is this more the City of last season or City of 2 seasons ago? The City of 2 seasons ago, come January, February, you needed an 8-10 point buffer. Otherwise, they'd run you down like the back end of the season, like nobody else could. Obviously, not the City of last season. So that's the kind of big question. Right now, I still think they are nowhere near yet to back to the team that we saw 2 seasons ago. So while they're better, they're not good enough to run down this version of Arsenal. But again, all that being said, they're still 3 points behind. And that's the kind of amazing thing, kind of given the conversations that we've been having all season long.
Now, despite...
Can we define? Somebody define for me flying under the radar, because it's kind of annoying me.
I feel like when we're talking about league,
how can you spend the amount of money they've spent over the years? Because they had because last year they fell off a cliff.
Right.
It just came along and they went down. They went for the parachute and there was no parachute. They just kept going. But they have a guy who has been reported. Many have thought he's been the best manager in the world. He certainly wasn't last year, but he has been there. How can you have a team with these superstars? Are we saying there's no expectation for them?
We shouldn't, but when we talk about the title race, we're usually saying it's between Liverpool and Arsenal. If you look at our pre-season predictions, was anybody picking Man City to do this season? And now people are talking about them perhaps being back in, the chance to win the title here.
Well, and they should. And they should, with the manager and with the budget they have and some of the players. Now, if they go and buy Art-Nouri from Wolves and he can't play, he's not very good at left back, because he's not great defensively, or they play, Matheus Nunes at right back now and again because they don't. That's their choice. That is their choice. You cannot not expect them, and I don't think they'll win the title, but you cannot expect them and give them a free pass and say, if they finish third or fourth, that'll be okay. not with the money they have spent, not with the squad they have accumulated. And just because they had a bad season last year doesn't mean they should be under pressure to perform better this season, which they have thus far in the main.
I still think City finished top 3, no question about it. They did last year, and as I said, I think they're better than what we saw last year. But I say fly under the radar because the conversations we have around winning the title is about Arsenal and whether they can throw it away. It's Arsenal or Arsenal as their own worst enemy. Less about City kind of running them down, less about whether City can do as we'd seen in the seasons gone by.
Nobody's frightened of City these days.
Correct.
They're not the juggernaut.
But is that an issue?
Well,
For who?
Is that an issue for the teams that maybe they should be more frightened of what City are doing right now, that they might be coming back?
For me, the frightening part about Manchester City is Erling Haaland. And right now, I mean, after that, Phil Foden, I don't think is the player that he was 2 seasons ago. He's better than he was last year. Reinders has kind of been all right. But it's all the talk is about Erling Haaland. And dare I say Gigi Donnarumma. Other than that, there's not that much to be worried about. There's not that much that can absolutely scare you. Or these same players that scared you 2 seasons ago are not scaring other teams in the Premier League this season.
And do you think they're going to drop points this weekend against a Villa side who themselves have had a good winning run? They lost midweek, they dropped players in Europe, but do you think there's going to be problems here for City?
I thought Villa did a decent job at Spurs last weekend. Didn't outplay Spurs, but I thought they got a little stronger. They have had a very slow start to the season, and I just feel that they'll be a more difficult nut to crack for Manchester City this weekend. And Morgan Rogers scored a great goal last week. They got some flair players. Buendia come off the bench and scored. Very well, organised manager. So I could see that being a sort of a tight affair. If that back four can handle, and it's a big if, can handle Erling Haaland.
Okay.